Welcome students. In this session we will discuss about Zigbee, which is also known as low power networking protocol. So let's start. Now the first thing which comes into our mind is what is Zigbee? So as the name implies, it has been named after the wiggle dance of a bee which she does when she returns to the hive. Now, whenever a bee returns to the hive, it usually takes so many mesh kind of network regarding his hive. So that is why whatever shape she takes will term this as the zigzag way for a given bee. So we named it similarly, that is Zigbee. So it was a thing in 1998 that we need some ad hoc personal networks. So engineers meet and they demand that such kind of network should be there which is ad hoc in terms of its stability. Means any personal network can be disconnected, rearranged, reframed. That is the meaning of ad hoc personal network. So when the alliance started in 2002, there was a Zigbee alliance of few companies. There were 25 members in this alliance. So the partner sit together and think about such a protocol where many devices can be collaborated with each other wirelessly, and then they come with few products. And in the beginning, they come with a very simplified products like switching on off a wireless lamp. With the passage of time, they started with home automation, that is, some wireless connectivity was there within a room, and then they started thinking about energy saving and so on. Ultimately, they come through some telecom products, and by the time in 2010, the number of members were increased to 400 plus, and in 2012, this number was 600 plus. So now it is a well-known Zigbee alliance. So any company which needs to be work along with the Zigbee network, it has to be certified with their alliance members so that it can accommodate, it can withstand the rules and regulation or protocol designed by the Zigbee products. So these alliance members define the protocol and every member have to complying with that particular protocol. So now we have numerous applications like in buildings, various input switches or lighting, energy saving and so on. Now in 2014, it also have been given one IEEE standard, that is IEEE 802, which is for specifically wireless .14.5. So it is a now completely well accepted wireless networking protocol with sound IEEE foundation guidelines. Few of the applications are in electric meters, thermostats, security systems, lighting switches and traffic management also. So you can see where there is a small area network which is also known as personal area network, and we want to communicate wirelessly with a smaller distance, then this kind of network protocol is very useful. Now again we'll discuss few advantages. So first advantage is it's a low power connection, low power protocol. So that is why it's a low cost and it's of very small size. It's a straightforward configuration, no need of stacking, building APIs and so many things. So it is very easy to implement and install. There is very good support and documentation available from Zigbee Alliance members. Since number of members are more than 600, so we have very wide variety of documentation and support regarding this particular interface. Many products are already available in the market, as in this diagram it has been shown that in a home or specifically in kind of hotels, there are many equipments which are being simply controlled by some handheld devices like air conditioner, geysers, lighting, decorative lighting, moving of the curtains. So we can use Zigbee in a smaller area network where some control signals have to be provided rather than data for video and audio. So another advantage is it works on a mesh networking. It works on a mesh technology. We will discuss advantages of mesh technology in the coming slides, but you should remember that it links with the mesh networking. So there are many different applications due to its various versions available in the market. Another advantage with respect to Bluetooth is its wake up time is very less. It takes only 30 milliseconds to wake up from the power saving mode to active mode, as compared to Bluetooth which takes 3 seconds. Even you come across some kind of this time delay when you try to connect your mobile phone with Bluetooth speakers, it takes quite time, like up to the range of 3 seconds. But Zigbee takes very less time, to the tune of 30 milliseconds. So these are the major benefits that why we should need Zigbee. So the main advantages are low power, low cost, small size, and for control kind of applications with a very low wake up time. So if I discuss applications in detail, there are 6 main domain areas where we see Zigbee is penetrating like anything. So it is being used in TV, VCRs and remote controls. Even mouse, keyboard and joysticks have been ready with the Zigbee protocols, Zigbee networking being wirelessly. Home automation, which includes security, lighting, HVAC, then toys and games, monitors, personal healthcare. So for diagnostic purpose and monitoring purpose for the patient, Zigbee has a very important role because it is wirelessly. So in many cases when doctor need not to be go into particular ward, then these kind of networking protocols really help us being wirelessly uh, availability of their connectivity. So in healthcare system, Zigbee is very useful. And similarly, in industrial and commercial applications, we can use for monitoring purpose, sensor automation and control purpose. So you have seen that in most of the application, the area is usually controlling and monitoring only. Okay, so it means the data bandwidth is limited in this case, and that is not the basic requirement of Zigbee protocol, because we have already one another protocol, wireless protocol for data like audio and video, and that protocol is usually Bluetooth. Either it is Bluetooth 2, 3 or 4 or LTE. But for control signals, where we have to just send on off signal, we have to get the reading, we have to just monitor particular variable. In those cases, Zigbee is very useful. So we are coming to the same point that if we are interested in bandwidth kind of a thing, then it is using the similar bandwidth range as being used in Wi-Fi. So using the same channels of 802.11b/g or many other options. So it works on the similar kind of connectivity or the scenario which has been being used by the Wi-Fi bandwidths or Wi-Fi bands. But the difference is it works better for low speed, and throughput is very less, that is even lesser than 100 kilobytes per second. Whereas in Wi-Fi or internet connectivity, in audio streaming and video streaming, we expect the data should be 1 Mbps. Okay, that is what we expect. But in Zigbee, our main motive is not to transmit or receive audio or video signal, but to work on control signals or monitoring purpose. Now another technical comparison which will give us a more insight about other features of this Zigbee. So we talk about the standard all are 802 because we are working on wireless. Wi-Fi is working on 802.11, Bluetooth is working on 1.5 and it is working on 1.5.4. Now the battery life, if you see, the battery life is hugely increased in Zigbee. That is the first advantage with Zigbee, that it is power saving protocol. So even it has been recommended or mentioned that it can go with up to 100 days. So that depends upon kind of application, but for a given application it has been compared that for the same application, if you are working for Bluetooth, the battery life is only 1 to 7 days, whereas for Zigbee it is minimum 100 days battery. So it is really power saving protocol. Network size, again we have more number of devices that can be connected. Yes, bandwidth is very small because we need not to work on audio and video signals. Range is again very high, you can go up to 100 meters. Then network architecture is mesh because we have to connect one piece to another piece or one device to another, and they both can work as coordinator and transmitter. Its application is optimized for reliability, low power and low cost. So these are the advantages. So let's say third is the range, fourth is low power and fifth is low cost. Okay. So this is the comparison in terms of power. So we can see in terms of power also, Zigbee is consuming very less power even while transmitting and sending. And even in idle mode, it consumes even lesser than 33 microwatt. So it is really power saving protocol. Okay, this is Zigbee architecture as compared to OSI reference model. We always say open system architecture interface model. So each model has 7 layers, can be defined into 7 layers. In this we have physical layer present that interacts with the different bandwidths or the frequency ranges. Starts from 868 megahertz. Then we can also operate on 2.4 gigahertz, which is more popular with most of the wireless connectivities. Then we have a media access control layer known as MAC layer. Network layer, we can work with star technologies, but mesh is most popular technology being used for networking. In security also we have multiple options for encryption. We can go for 32-bit encryption or 128-bit encryption. And the last upper layer is customer of application layer, which is useful for the customer. Application layer means whenever we made a device which is compatible with the Zigbee, so the end user only operates with the kind of interface which is available at its screen. So whatever the user interface is available on the screen, that is known as application layer. That how much easy to build an application around this protocol. So the last upper layer is application layer. The central part of the OSI model is only being used for Zigbee Alliance. This has been taken care of by IEEE standard. So IEEE mention or standardize various parameters like connectors, voltage range, all these things have been controlled by IEEE. But networking, encryption, APIs, they all have been controlled and suggested by Zigbee Alliance members. These are the various Zigbee network topologies available or technologies. So in network topologies, first one is star. What happens in star? Actually, if I told you that there are 3 kind of terms when we used network topologies, the first one is coordinator. Since we are using very smaller area, so we call it as personal area network. So PAN is personal area network. As we have local area network, similarly we have personal area network. So the red color device is a coordinator which coordinates with all other devices. Either they are fully functional devices or they are reduced functional devices. So when the coordinator is in the center and it interacts with all the devices, we call it as star topology. Second topology is mesh type. In mesh type, the coordinator as well as devices, they all are connected with each other depending upon its range. Now this particular device is connected to further 3 devices. This connected with 1, 2, 3 and 4 devices depending upon that it has whatever its range. So devices, so many devices which comes within this range, it has to be connected with those particular devices. So there are in fact 5 devices, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this particular device, the central one, is connected with 5 other devices due to mesh technology. The advantage with the mesh is that if the signal is sent to be here, it reaches to any corner because we are using mesh. So most of the devices connect with every node near around it. So that is why it is very easy for us to sending signal from one point to another point. Even it is possible through star, but in that case each of the device will send the signal to the central one and central one further send to the end user. So it means the coordinator has the main role in star type topology. Third topology is cluster based. What happens in clusters? As shown in this example, there are three clusters. One cluster is this one, this is second cluster, and this is the third cluster. So each cluster has number of devices, either they are fully functional or reduced functional devices, and they are connected with the main coordinator or personal area network coordinator. So when the different kind of clusters or tree is connected with the central coordinator, we call it as cluster tree. So these are the three topologies which are being used in this protocol. But as we have already discussed, that mesh type is most popular, being advantages of that is each node can act as transmitter and receiver. So we have already discussed few advantages and disadvantages. Our star topology is easy to synchronize. Latency is very low. Latency means how much time is consumed from sending a signal to receiving a signal. It means if we have started the signal at 00 time, so how much time it takes to reach at this point. Let's say it takes 0.3 milliseconds. So this is latency time which has been used for transmitting the data from star to end. Okay, so star topology has low latency. Disadvantages is it is implemented only for small scale. For large number of nodes, it is very difficult for the star topology. So next one is network topology is cluster based. In cluster based again, we have different clusters. We've already discussed about it. Advantages are low routing cost and multi-drop connection is available because this kind of devices are connected with multiple devices, so they can handle multiple devices at one time, 1 and 2. Again, router reconstruction is costly, so it means we have to reconstruct this with more number of nodes. Okay, the same router reconstruction is costly for us, and latency is also very high. It takes more time, more longer duration for the data transmission. Now if we try to compare Zigbee and Bluetooth, the major advantage is, I have already told you, that we use Zigbee for smaller packets over large network. This is a magic line, or you can say brand line for the Zigbee, that is smaller packets, larger network. So that is the main thing you should focus on. So that is why this is available for home automation, toys, remote controls, monitoring purpose only. It is not being used for audio files and video files, whereas Bluetooth is specifically used for smaller network and larger data sets, that is larger packet and smaller network, and that is why it is being used for picture, graphics, audio files and video files and so on. One more technical comparison in terms of number of nodes with Bluetooth and Zigbee. So number of nodes are very less in Zigbee, very high in Zigbee. Less number of nodes are available in Bluetooth, but very high number of nodes are available in Zigbee. Latency is very less in compared to Bluetooth, where it is 10 seconds, it is only 30 milliseconds. This is the first version of Bluetooth or Bluetooth 2, but nowadays we have Bluetooth 4 which has very less latency than 10 seconds, but even then Zigbee has better options for lesser bandwidth and lesser data packets. Now the same thing can be clear from this diagram. You can see Bluetooth has wider data rate range. Okay, either it is Bluetooth 1 or Bluetooth 3. If you see Bluetooth 3, it will lie here. That is, the range is very high, up to which you can transmit the data. So we can send digital video, multi-channel video also. But Zigbee has very limited range. We can send text mainly or few of graphics. Okay, but its network range is very high as compared to Bluetooth 1 or 2, even for 3. So here are few advantages of mesh networking in specific, because in Zigbee most of the time we go for mesh networking. So let's see few of its terminology. Now the kernel coding have been changed a bit. Now we say this is a coordinator, what we call earlier PAN coordinator, personal area network coordinator. Blue colors are routers or routers, and red colors are the end devices up to which we have to send the information. So whichever device is further transmitting the information and not keeping information up to itself is known as a router. Another job of router is it's connecting different nodes among others. So that is the advantage and functionality of routers. So these are the three components: coordinator, routers, and end devices. Now end devices may be mobile phone or home automation kind of device like a switch. Another end device could be a fan which is Zigbee enabled. So whenever we send a signal from a switch, let's say this is a switch. Okay, switch is sending signal to the router, router sends the signal to next router, and finally it sends the signal to lamp or fan to switch on and off. Although in home area network we have maybe sometimes only one router between switch and the fan. So the purpose of coordinator is, I have already told you, it searches for the open wireless channel, established one PAN identification number, personal area network identification number, so that it can identify which particular device want to communicate with which device. Okay, so it wait for the query and establish a link between starting point to end point and send the signal. These are the advantages of mesh networking. So number one, it allows devices to communicate to multiple other devices in the network. That is, one device can interact with multiple devices, 4 or 5. Second advantage is multiple paths to destination. That is, if you want to go from this point to this point, you have multiple routes. You can go like this here, or you can follow this and reach this. Okay, so there are multiple ways. Even you can go like this and reach here this. So there are number of ways by which we can reach from starting point to end point. And it happens sometime that if one node is already busy, okay, then the coordinator decides the other available path and takes the data from this to reach at the end point. Rather than going from this side, it will take this path. So that is the advantage of multiple paths from destination, from starting to destination. Another advantage of mesh networking is it allows the overall network to grow to larger size. That is, we can even later on keep on adding few devices, adding on and adding on, because it is a mesh type. This become router for next devices, next to next devices. This can start as a now next router for us. Okay, so it is very easy to integrate new devices into the previous or existing system. So these are the three major advantages of mesh networking. Now there are few typical characteristics of mesh type networking. The two are, number one, mesh type networking protocol is self-forming. Self-forming means Zigbee devices can establish communication on their own. That is, as soon as a new device appear into the system, they develop the connection along with the existing network. So it is self-forming network. Another very interesting word is self-healing network. Self-healing means if one or more nodes start misbehaving, start non-functionality, start giving some problem, then due to the multiple options available with us, they start finding alternate routes, and that is why data never lost. And in the meantime, it will check why this router is not responding and try to solve that problem either by data sharing or through diagnostic process. So it is a self-healing kind of a process. At least at that time, whenever there is a huge demand, it can work out for alternate paths on the router basis. Okay, now this is one of the last slides. Here I have taken one example of Zigbee. This XB is a Zigbee based module and it is very easily interfaceable with Arduino. So you can see it has been interfaced through RX and TX wires of Arduino board. So if you want to transmit whatever data you are acquiring through analog signal, and you have interfaced your analog signals using A to D pins of Arduino board, that is A0, A1, A2, A3 and so on, then you are digitizing it, doing some processing, and you want to transmit wirelessly. So XB module can help you. So we can transmit the signal over Zigbee even with the help of Arduino board. But for this purpose, what we need one XB card for this purpose, which can be easily interfaceable. And even at the receiving end, we need this as a receiver. So it will receive wirelessly whatever the data transmitted from this side to this side, and again one Arduino can be this side or one personal computer or laptop, and we can visualize whatever the data is being transmitted wirelessly through the Zigbee. These are few of the features of this RF module or XB module, because it works on S2C RF range. So first thing is it can work as a standalone module. That is, it do not need any further kind of communicator devices along with it. Everything is built in this. Either it is antenna or it is radio frequency couplers or it is kind of LC circuits. Everything is available on this board. Its range is 400 feet up to which it can send the signal. But if we have the line of sight, it can even transmit to a larger area, that is 4,000 feet. This is the frequency range at which it works, that is 2.4 gigahertz to 2.5 gigahertz, and it can work on 16 individual channels. Okay, and it uses UART communication, as we have already seen that it uses RxTX, that is UART, universal receiver transmitter. Asynchronous receiver transmitter has been used in this circuit, and this is the bit rate up to which it can work. It can work up to 5 megabits per second, and the last one is the device can work even up to 3.3 volt, which is very good point, because the power consumption has been now reduced and it consumes only 40 to 45 milliampere current as a maximum rating. Okay, so when it is ideal, even it is lesser than this, to the tune of 4 milliampere kind of current. So now you can see it is very useful, and you can find out more detail at this link for XB and Arduino interfacing. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture, because we have discussed about wireless protocol which is for smaller area network, that is Zigbee. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching this video.